Imagine a water corridor. At its narrowest point, its width is only 39 kilometers. That's less than a typical city's ring road. And right through this narrow, vulnerable sleeve, 21 million barrels of oil pass every single day. 20% of all global consumption. A third of the planet's liquefied natural gas. A single sunken ship can block this passage. One political decision, and the global economy instantly begins to suffocate. This is the Strait of Hormuz, officially the most dangerous and strategically important place on Earth. But have you ever wondered why this tiny patch of water holds almost mystical power? Today, we're going beyond boring geopolitics. We'll look where scientists and politicians are afraid to look. Because Hormuz is not just a strait. It is either nature's greatest mistake or someone's grand, terrifying design. Let's first understand the scale of the trap. The Strait of Hormuz connects the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman, opening the way to the Indian Ocean. To the north, Iran. To the south, Oman and the United Arab Emirates. The water here is strikingly shallow, averaging about 50 meters, 90 at maximum. Supertankers have to maneuver through narrow, pre-swept fairways just a couple of kilometers wide. Geologists claim this strait has existed for only about 5,000 to 6,000 years. Until the end of the last ice age, this was dry land. The Persian Gulf was a huge freshwater basin, a blooming oasis surrounded by deserts. And then, when the ice melted, the ocean level rose, and the water literally smashed this corridor open. Official science says, coincidence. But conspiracy theorists see timing that is just too perfect here. Why did this strait open exactly when the first human civilizations began to emerge in the Middle East? And most importantly, why did nature create this thinnest bottleneck right over the largest hydrocarbon reserves on the planet? Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory claim the Persian Gulf is a giant flooded quarry of ancient civilizations, or those very Anunnaki from Sumerian myths. Oil is not just rotted plankton, but a technological marker. And the Strait of Hormuz is an artificially designed lock, an ancient geoengineering structure, created to control the region's logistics before humanity even learned to write. And this speculative part gets even darker if you look into history. In ancient times, the Hormuz region was part of the mysterious Magan civilization, which the Sumerians called the Land of Copper. But in Sumerian cuneiform tablets, this region is described as more than just a market. It was a threshold, the border between the world of the living and the world of the dead. In Sumerian cosmology, the entrance to the underworld, Kor, was located right here, beyond the sea, where water goes deep into the earth. But the main historical mystique is connected to the island of Hormuz itself. Today it's a semi-desert piece of land, famous for its red ochre. But in the Middle Ages, the city of Hormuz was an incredible metropolis, a fabulously wealthy trading center of the world, where, according to merchants, even the dust was gold. And suddenly, this center of civilization disappears. Official history says the Persian Shah simply moved the people to the mainland because of wars with the Portuguese. But alternative historians are sure the archives lie. People fled Hormuz not from soldiers, but from what activated beneath the island. There's a theory that ancient antediluvian artifacts are hidden under the strait, sources of colossal energy, which periodically drive people insane or cause mass hallucinations. The region seems to erase the memory of those who try to completely subjugate this strait. Fast forward to today. It seems Hormuz is a powder keg ready to explode. But what if this tension is a controlled theatrical production? According to the controlled chaos theory, the global financial elites don't need lasting peace in the Strait of Hormuz at all. As long as the threat of closure hangs over the strait, global oil prices remain speculative. It's the perfect tool for artificially inflating inflation, burning trillions of unbacked dollars, and controlling emerging economies like China and India. Notice the paradox. Saudi Arabia and the UAE spend billions building bypass pipelines. But the more the world tries to bypass Hormuz, the more military bases are built around it. The strait works like a giant geopolitical black hole. Whoever controls this valve controls the speed of the global financial system's reboot. If tomorrow the elites need to bring down the old world, Hormuz will simply close for a couple of months, and that will be enough. But what if the closure happens without a single shot? Without tanks and missiles? In 2008, something terrifying happened in the Persian Gulf. The water suddenly turned a sinister rusty red color. It was the so-called red tide, an explosive growth of toxic algae. They destroyed tons of fish, clogged filters, and literally paralyzed desalination plants. The region was on the brink of catastrophe due to a lack of drinking water. Officially, it's climate change and fertilizer runoff. The conspiracy theory is much more sinister. These were the first field tests of biological and climatic weapons. Imagine a cloud of chemtrails over the Gulf, a specific composition of reagents, and the Strait of Hormuz turns into a poisonous swamp. Shipping stops because ships' cooling systems get clogged with biomass. The perfect biological blockade, for which no army in the world can be blamed. And finally, the deepest secret zone of Hormuz, the tectonic one. Under the strait, the Arabian Plate is subducting under the Eurasian one. The Iranian plateau is literally growing upward from this colossal underground pressure. Geologists openly say, in millions of years, tectonics will inevitably close this strait. But conspiracy theorists ask, what if this process can be accelerated? A theory circulates among researchers about a series of directed underground nuclear explosions, or exposure to high-frequency emitters like HARP. One massive earthquake, and the strait's floor rises several dozen meters, forever sealing the Persian Gulf to large-tonnage ships. Some go even further, linking Hormuz to eschatology, prophecies of the end times. Ancient texts mention, the waters of great rivers and seas will dry up, and the paths will be blocked. A blockade of Hormuz in this paradigm isn't just an economic crisis. It's the launch of a biblical scenario, a mystical trigger for the start of the apocalypse. But back to harsh reality. The military machine around Hormuz knows no equal. There are no rules of classic warfare here. This is the realm of asymmetric threats. Iranian Ghadar-class submarines can lie on the bottom for weeks, blending with the terrain. They are invisible to sonars, and they wait for just one signal. Meanwhile, swarms of kamikaze drones patrol the surface. Tens of thousands of cheap but deadly machines. No air defense system is capable of shooting them all down. And in the shadows operate the ghost fleets. Ships without flags, with disabled transponders. They transfer oil right in the open sea under the cover of night. This shadow market is estimated at billions of dollars, and any attempts to stop it could provoke a global conflict. Knowing these threats, the Gulf countries try to find a way out. Giant alternative routes are being built. The East-West pipeline in Saudi Arabia stretches for 1,200 kilometers. It pumps oil to the Red Sea, bypassing Hormuz. But the problem is that these paths are vulnerable too. Houthi attacks on oil facilities showed there are no safe places anymore. The Red Sea is also turning into a war zone. The only reliable option is giant underground storage. Strategic reserves hidden deep within the rocks. But even they will last a couple of months at most. If Hormuz closes for a long time, no reserves will save us. Let's simulate what happens if the strait is closed tomorrow. Day 1. Oil instantly shoots up to $200 a barrel. Markets plunge into absolute chaos. Day 7. Gas prices double. Panic starts at gas stations. Lines stretch for kilometers. Logistics chains collapse. Supermarkets empty. Shelves with basic goods disappear in hours. Day 30. The economies of Europe and Asia halt. Factories close. Millions of people are left without work. Martial law is declared to suppress food riots. This is the price of this tiny patch of water. Our entire modern world is a colossus with feet of clay. 39 kilometers of water. A distance you could cross by car in half an hour. And on these 39 kilometers rests the fragile balance of our entire civilization. From the price of a plane ticket to the presence of bread in your store. The Strait of Hormuz is the greatest reminder of how vulnerable our world is. And it doesn't matter who keeps their hand on this pulse. Mad dictators, a secret world government, ancient Sumerian gods, or the planet itself, tired of human games. Next time you hear in the news about another exercise in the Persian Gulf, or see new numbers at the gas station, remember this narrow corridor. And ask yourself, what if tomorrow it closes forever? And are we ready for the world that will begin after that?